What's your favorite tool out of these to use? Does it kind of fall in line with what we have here on the poll?
I think Sales Navigator is like honestly probably the most important when it comes to like researching count, because you can figure out who the decisions makers are by looking at it. But to get like real in depth into like if you're going to personalize versus relevance, or include that with your outreach as well, I think like making sure you use their website and Google is also like just as important.
I would say for me, a little bit different. I can speak to the apartments.com, which is a little bit more specific, but I would say overall, definitely company website as well. But Zoom Info, I really like for titles and contact information, which I have found really helpful, at least for but I think for other projects as well, just kind of get a layout, at least of hierarchy, or like, yeah, if you're just having trouble contacting people, it's a great tool for that.
How do you prep for a cold call when it comes to research?
I think there are kind of like 4 levels of research that I like to try to hit upon. Really 3 and a lucky 4th if you can get people's hobbies, but just knowing their job responsibilities. They'll often state their job responsibilities right on LinkedIn. Then have some idea of like how large the company is, what's happening at the company, go to their news section, press releases, something about the company, have that in the back pocket, and then the past relationship / CRM, know what's happening. Have you spoken to them in the past? Has somebody at your company spoken to them in the past? Making sure you're not just blowing that piece of research off, because it can happen. It happens to the best of us.
Utilize your AE, whoever it might be that you're setting up meetings for. They may have had previous conversations with third-party contacts who have been transitioned to a certain account, and that they haven't gotten to. So kind of piggyback off that, just not only notes, but your AE, making sure that that's in there. And specifically, right, the prepping for the cold call, I try to separate that with cadences for different industries or target accounts, follow-ups, whatever it may be. And that way it's kind of the same sort of message and same thing going into it in that block.
How much time do you typically spend researching?
I like it to be like maybe like 30-70, like 30% research maybe, to give it more of like like throughout a day. And this is also like a lot of my experiences on the team, which Greg touched upon, is like very much of its own animal in terms of research and what you want to find out. But I mean, even like an hour or 2 a day, I would say, in terms of prospecting and researching, and then the rest kind of going after them. About that time.
I think for it depends. If it's your first touch, I want to get all that research out of the way and put it in Salesforce ASAP. So then my following touches, I'll put a quote from LinkedIn. I'll go into LinkedIn, let's say back to the job responsibilities, responsible for exactly what I want to talk about. I'll put that in Salesforce and I'll know that it's there. And then when I make the next call, I'll pull up their LinkedIn profile, but that's as I'm already dialing. I've got the notes in front of me. Maybe I pulled a quote from their account page, very similarly, quote it, put a date on it. Maybe if it's related to an article, date your information, just like spoiled milk. It'll throw you off. If it's, you're referencing information that came out a year ago, you might shoot yourself in the foot there. But really the first touch is where you want to spend a lot of your time researching. And from there, hopefully you have a good research focused, like email 1, personalized message, and then just bump it up. And, from there, it's what it is.
We have a lot of newer folks on this, attending this symposium, so I really want to address this. When did you kind of find that like you felt like you could really get that balance down? Right?
I don't know if I could put a time frame on it. I'd say once I got comfortable with using the different tools with Zoom Info, LinkedIn Sales Navigator, different tabs, different search options that I had.
I feel like if I was going to put a time on it, maybe like a couple weeks into a new program starting. Sometimes like your process might change a little bit. Obviously you're learning about a whole new industry and different type of, or not always, but you're learning about a different type of group you're prospecting into. So I would say typically like maybe like a week or 2 when I get comfortable, like, all right, this is how I'm going to balance my day to day. Maybe a little longer with certain projects, maybe a little less with other ones, but just towards the beginning.
Same with Zach though, like sometimes it could be hard to put a time on it, but I would say what for me is the way I feel like I got comfortable is hearing every sort of rebuttal, which I think obviously takes a lot of time. Like you might be 6 months into it and then you hear something that you've never heard before. But I think the more I got rejections or rebuttals, that's when I like really started to feel almost more comfortable because you just anticipate different things.